Everybody's got that something. Hello, 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 Diva. All right. Yes, it's been a while. It's been a while since I've done a session, but this one has been on my heart. Mimi, Mimi, hola, hello. I have to do this session, and it is dealing with understanding the real game. Brian, Mikey Span. So I need to go over this because I've had a lot of they've been dealing with a lot of clients recently. It just wanting as I'm going through this information with them, I'm realizing that no one has gone over the higher laws with them, and this is what a lot of people don't talk about. And so I need to really put this out there. Abdul Enrique, my buddy from Brazil. So I need to put this stuff out there so that we can really start to understand what this game is, because I get a lot of people who come to me and they know, oh yeah, we can clear up some bills and take care of some stuff over here, and they want, oh, let me get that, let me can we just skip over the other stuff, and I can just get into the settling these bills. And it doesn't work that way, at least not with me, because I'm not going to be able to push you through this process until you understand the higher laws, because this is more than just about pushing paperwork. This is more than just about showing an ID card or wearing some kind of garb and or telling somebody that, oh, this is who I am, and you don't know the law. So let's get into this thing. We're talking about understanding the real game. What is this game really? What is this dimension about? What is this thing that we're walking in? We have to understand that before we can really start manipulating this thing the way we want it to be for us. Now, understanding the game, we're going to be dealing with gaining freedom from the system. We're going to be talking about applying the higher laws, and in that we're going to deal with the higher laws, and then we're going to be talking about manipulating the lower laws. Now, tomorrow, I'm going to do 2 sessions. One of them is going to actually be going over all of the universal laws, and the other one is going to be going over the hierarchy of laws. All right, so that we can really gain an understanding. But right now, I just want to introduce to you these laws that, and these things, these principles that that most people are not being taught, or not talking about, or not discussing. Now you'll see, when you see people who are using these lower laws and they're getting a lot of success with them, what you're going to find, you're going to hear them talk a lot about, is the spiritual side. All right, this is because this game is spiritual, and the more you understand that spiritual side, the easier it is for you to manipulate everything underneath that. And a lot of people, don't really grasp that. They want to think it's about pushing some paperwork. And let's understand that this dimension is all spiritual. Everything is just energies. That's all it is, energies. So when I say spiritual, if that bothers you, or that hasn't been proven yet by science, really it has. And I've talked about this. You can go and see that on some of my videos. But if that bothers you, just understand that everything is an energy. And so let's talk about the highest law that I have come across. And we're talking about universal laws. What are universal laws? And again, I'm going to go over these in detail, each one of them. There are 12 of them. And they're basically, they're principles, and it deals with whatever energy you put out into the universe must come back. So the universe only looks to balance itself. So if you're putting out a lot of negative energy, that's what you're getting back. If you're seeing people who are successful and they're able to create things that they want and just say this is what they want, that's because of the energy that they put out. And so when we learn how to, first of all, respect the universal laws, the highest of laws, then we learn how to manipulate everything else underneath that, because everything falls underneath that, because everything deals with an energy. So now let's talk about, the next law that I will deal with once again when I go over the hierarchies of law. That law is the maxims of law. Now, one of the things that I talk to people about, especially, my atheist people who, you know, want to say, oh, God doesn't exist, or spirituality doesn't exist. And listen, I'm not here to tell anybody what their beliefs should or should not be. But what I do need to point out, and I have to point out, is that, you're in a system and you are being, to some degree, you're being oppressed. Really, you're being oppressed because of your ignorance. But there are people who are playing this game and who are manipulating the laws at the top, and they're only able to do it because we're ignorant. And they're using certain elements, like the Bible, for example, where I'm going to get into that just a little bit this evening. But they're using these things as weapons against you. Well, once again, when you understand the universal laws, you can turn any and everything into a weapon for you. So if someone is using a weapon or a tool against you, the universal law helps you to understand how you can take that same tool and use it to your advantage. Now, what does this have to do with the Bible and my atheist friends having issues with there being a God or a spiritual being or a most high or what have you? The deal is that those who are manipulating the game, they fully believe that there is a God. They fully believe that there is a God. Well, somebody's sitting there going, now, because they believe there's a devil. Okay, well, you can't have a devil without a God, because the devil, quote unquote, whether you believe in the devil or not, if they're believing in it, it only comes from a God. Can't have one without the other. So the thing is to understand what it is that they are believing, so that you can use these tools that they're using against you to your advantage. All right. So I'm going to get into a couple of things. First of all, what I need to make sure we understand is that when you're talking about gaining your freedom in this system, it is about you knowing self. You knowing self. So you're not going to go out here and show your ID and think that you've pushed some paperwork. I've had some people to tell me, I had somebody to file this paperwork for me, and I'm still a slave. And the problem is nobody can file anything for you if you're not filing it yourself, and if you're not understanding what it is that you're filing, and if you're not understanding how to stand on the things that you're filing, then you still have no freedom. I have had people who have had more freedom, quote unquote, freedom papers than I have, and didn't use them, didn't stand on them, and ended up throwing themselves back under the system because they didn't understand what it is that they're standing on. Let's understand this. When you understand the hierarchies of law, which I'm going to go over tomorrow, and you understand this whole game that it all deals with energy, there's your freedom right there. There is your freedom right there. What's in your mind? So if you are refusing to study, if you're refusing to understand what's going on in this system, there's no paperwork, there's no documentation, there's no fez, there's no garb. None of that is going to free you. You must free your mind. You must free your mind by studying and not being ignorant. Freedom and ignorance do not coexist. If you want freedom, you must study, you must gain knowledge, you must understand these things that you're trying to apply. Because really, once you know who you are, you don't need any of that. All the paperwork is just there for your backup. It's just there for your backup. Okay, let me get into this thing. Because let me say this before I go on. We talk about karma. What is karma? I just need to address this, because I'll hear, karma is a bitch and karma is this, and it's like, no, karma's not a bitch. You're a bitch, because all karma is an energy. That's all it is. It's a universal law. And so if you're getting some quote unquote karma, it's because you put it out. When you're seeing people have all these great things come to them, and they are receiving here and receiving there, and oh, they got favor. Well, they got favor because they put out favor. If you're receiving a lot of negative, it's because you put out negative. So what we have to do is learn, because we get a lot of people who say, oh, I'm a God. They're walking around with the title L, but then they're over here blaming the system and talking this and upset and racism and this and that and that. You cannot be a victim and a God. Let me say this again so I make it clear. You cannot be a victim and a God. If you're a God, then you understand you are the one who are creating all of the things in your universe. And until people are ready to recognize that and understand that there are no victims, then you're going to continue in whatever cycle that you're in. So what we're learning to do as I deal with the people who I'm dealing with and my clients or what have you, we've got to look at self first. And then really, I know it seems like, well, what does this have to do with my bills, Diva? What does this have to do with the people coming after us and they killing us in the street? Energies. That's what it has to do with. And us not understanding how we're being manipulated by media, manipulated by the system, and us being ignorant of the laws. One of the things you hear these people in law say all the time, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Well, they're not telling you about the highest of laws, universal laws, maxims of law. If you're ignorant of those, then you don't have any. You're walking as a slave because you're choosing to be ignorant. So again, get those laws down. I'm going to post them here, universal laws, maxims of law. Eventually I'll be posting the other laws, which are the laws of maxim. I'll actually post a whole list of those. But what I want to talk about real quick is one of the universal laws that applies, that's one of my favorites that I use, is the law of polarity. All right. Now, the law of polarity simply states that every element on this planet or everything in this dimension can be used. It has polarity. It can be positive, quote unquote, positive or negative. So it's the same thing that can be used to kill you or keep you down or oppress you. It's the same thing that can be used to gain your freedom and to have longevity of life. All right. What are we talking about? I'm going to give you a couple of examples. The birth certificate. All right. A lot of us are learning about the birth certificate and how it's being traded on the stock market. And, you hear all of this negativity about, oh, they enslaved us and they tricked us into being a slave and, they selling us on the stock market. Okay, let's understand something. Once again, when you have knowledge of self, you know that you were never that all capital letter. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, please do a little bit of research on this. We call it a straw man. It's known as a straw man. All right. So for those of you who have done your research, you understand you never were the corporation or all capital letter straw man in the first place. That never was you. At this point, you can walk right away from it and never have anything else to do with that corporation ever again. And nobody can touch you when you know who you are. And so that's the thing that we're not getting. We're trying to stay. Look, they told you you were this dead, fictitious entity over here. This is you, the real being. They told you you were this. You over here talking about, yeah, this is me. This can't even talk. This is dead. But you standing up as this dead, fictitious entity. You're the problem. Understand you can separate yourself from this entity and you can walk away and never deal with it again. But the problem is that we've been told that we are that entity. Well, let me tell you something. This thing that is used to keep you a slave, because this is a dead fictitious entity that is being controlled rather for most of us by the United States corporation to some degree. It's controlled by you. You just don't know what it is. All right, let me explain this. When your mother signed that birth certificate, we've been told, she was tricked. And she was. But when she signed it, your mother created money. Your mother's signature is worth money, unlimited money. And the problem is she doesn't know that. But when she created, or when she signed the birth certificate and all these other documents, what she created was a bond. Then she gave permission to the state to create a corporation with your upper and lowercase name. All right. She gave the state permission to create a corporation with your upper and lowercase name that she gave you. So they used her. They used her. And I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank, but they used her name that she gave you. That's her name. That's her property. And they used that to create this all capital letter corporation. And then they took that bond and they got funds on it and they put it into that an account that is denoted by that social security number. And we're going to talk about that later. And they also put those funds in there denoted by that social security number, as well as that all capital letter name. They created a corporation, but the only way they could do it is from your mother's signature. Your mother is the creator. Your mother is the creator. Your mother is the creator of that whole estate that it is now, with all of those funds in it. Your mother created it. All this mess about what we don't own it. You just haven't claimed it. You just haven't claimed it. Nobody else can own it, but you or your mother. She called you the beneficiary, and the account was created by her. As the creator, it's hers. She gave it to you. Now you got to claim it. Now, again, here's this dead fictitious entity. It's a corporation. It's got funds in it. And you, instead of talking for it, you need to understand you are standing over here as a God, and you're going to start controlling it. Puppet is your corporation. Learn how to control it. This same thing here, all of you all running around talking about your bills and I can't get this paid and I can't get that paid. Money does not exist. However, if you want to pretend like it exists, it's right here. Your mother created it for you. So because you're talking like this dead fictitious entity and you have ignorance about what it is, this is being used to keep you a slave. You keep talking for it. When you gain knowledge, the same thing that was trying to keep you as a slave, you can use it to walk like a God. Because these are unlimited funds here. And so we've just got to understand, again, we got to wrap our mind around the universal laws, because, this is something they're using to enslave me. How do I turn it around and use it to enhance me? Same thing with this Bible. I'm going to talk about this Bible because I mentioned it earlier. The Bible is a tool that is used in court. Now, you go into courts, they'll take away your freedom. They're putting people in jail for life using the Bible. Well, what's the problem? The problem is most of us, less than 2% of us, have even read the book. We don't know what it is. We think it's a religious piece. It has nothing to do with religion, but they've used it in religion to keep you ignorant. Again, a tool that's being used to keep you enslaved and in servitude. So what are we talking about? When we go into court, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Let's understand that, all right? You're swearing on a Bible. Now, this Bible has a set of laws. Those laws are called the laws of Maxim. They're also known as God's law. These are laws that cannot be taken away from you. When you were born, you were given these rights that cannot be taken away from you. And they're all here in the Bible. But we don't know that. Some of us still run around talking about the Bible written by a white man. Okay, that's incorrect. And we need to learn what this book is. And then when they're saying, so help you God, who is this God character? Now, I have people be trying to give me all different types of acronyms for God. God means whatever. I don't even care. because it's irrelevant what you think it means. The question is, what are they saying when they're telling you to swear on this Bible, so help you God? Well, you got to understand, if they're telling you to swear on the Bible, they got to swear on the same Bible. And understand this, people, this is not just for the United States. This is for the whole planet. Every corporation that has some kind of a court of law talking about you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God, they are talking about the same God around the planet. Why is this important, Diva? Because when you understand what the laws of Maxim are, then you know it doesn't matter what court you step into on this planet. That's where you want to stand under the laws of Maxim. You don't want to be talking about somebody's constitution. You don't be caring about somebody's case law. You don't be caring about whatever other code, statutes, and ordinance they trying to tell you. What did God say? That's the only thing you want to be concerned with, because every court on this planet, not that you should be in anybody's court, because I make sure my clients don't go into nobody's court, but if you ever find yourself in one, you can be guaranteed that when the laws of Maxim stand above all of that. I don't care where you are on this planet, because I listen, I want you to understand this, because I'm not just saying this just to be saying it. I have experienced it. I'm not in North America. I'm in Argentina, and I'm telling you, these people try to give me that whole runaround. Well, our laws here are different. Is your God different? Is there a different God for Argentina than there is in the United States, in Italy, in Texas? Is the same, or is it different guy? Well, no, it's the same. Well, then the laws of Maxim are respected here, right? Well, yeah, the laws of Maxim are highest. Well, good. Your laws here don't mean they're not any different than what they are in North America. And so I'm standing under the laws of Maxim. And all your little lower laws here, they don't apply. So we got to understand where it is we need to stand. I'm not telling you to believe in a God or that you got to believe in this, but the last thing you want to do when you walk up in the courtroom is be talking about, well, I don't believe in God, I'm atheist, and God don't exist inside. Well, you just gave away all your power. You just gave away all of your power. Don't be ignorant. Don't be ignorant. If you want freedom, freedom and ignorance cannot coexist. You must know the laws. Universal law, laws of Maxim. Again, I'm going to go through all of them tomorrow. I'm going to do a session with each one of them where I go through all of the universal laws. I go through the hierarchy of laws, and I'll probably go through some of the laws of Maxim. Now, I want to just, before I get out of here, and thank you all for joining me tonight. I hope y'all doing well. Before I get out of here, I want to go over this story that I hope you guys will get some insight from. But there was this, and if I have any questions, I forgot, put your questions down here so I can answer them before I get out of here. But the story is about a farmer and a donkey. The farmer and a donkey. Now, the farmer they were going through a large field, and as they were walking, they came up on a big ditch. And the donkey ended up falling into the ditch, and it was deep. And of course, the donkey is down there wailing. The farmer is looking down in the hole, wanting to get this donkey out. Now, he didn't know what to do, and he couldn't really. They were far away from the camp or whatever, and I guess the donkey was too heavy for him to pull the donkey out. He went back, got some rope, and it was just too heavy. And he was going to try to dig him out. He had a shovel, but he just realized he couldn't do it. So what the farmer decided he was going to do is he was just going to bury the donkey, because the donkey is just wailing, and he's like, I can't lift him out. He's going to die down there. I'm just going to go ahead and bury the donkey. So the farmer starts shoveling the dirt onto the donkey, and the donkey is wailing like, because you can imagine knowing that you're about to die. This man is throwing dirt into the hole on top of the donkey to bury him. And, as the farmer kept shoveling the dirt into the hole, he realized that the donkey's wailing had gone down. a lot, and then to the point where he had stopped wailing. And eventually, the farmer shoveled some dirt over into the hole, and he went and looked over into the hole, and there's the donkey. Soon as he looked down at the donkey, and the donkey was shaking the dirt off of his back and stepping up on it. The donkey was shaking the dirt off of his back and stepping up on it. Now, what is this? Eventually, the farmer realized, oh, he's using the dirt to lift himself up. So the farmer kept throwing dirt over into the hole, and finally the donkey was able to jump up out of the hole. Now, what did I just say? The farmer was burying this donkey. He was using this dirt for the attempt to bury this donkey. And the donkey, instead of wailing and bitching and moaning about it, is like, I'm gonna shake this off and step up on it. That's what I mean when we're talking about the law of polarity. Because if the donkey had decided to just sit there and die and cry and moan and, oh, this is so terrible for me, oh my God, oh, instead of shaking the dirt off and stepping on it, he'd be dead, he'd be buried. So where you want to be? You want to be buried under here, or you want to be up here? Again, it's the same dirt. It's the same dirt. Are you going to use it as a tool to uplift you, or are you going to use it or allow somebody to use it to bury you? That is what we're talking about when we're talking about these universal laws. We're talking about changing our mind. We're talking about, the law of polarity, law of relativity, meaning an issue is only as big as you let it be in your mind. Again, everything has polarity. Are you going to let it bury you? Or are you going to use it to uplift yourself so you can walk like a God? All right. Let me see if I have any questions. I hope. Hey, Jeffrey. Yes, it's been a long time, brother. Thank you for joining me. If I have any questions. Hey, Frank, that bass player, please let me know. But I do appreciate you all taking the time to join me tonight. Thank you, Jay. That's right, Paper Slaves. Well, we're gonna get this thing together. I know that it's a lot for us to learn, and you're gonna, again, the more you're seeing people who have success in this game, you're gonna understand it's because they are getting their inner spirits corrected. I'm gonna say this real quick, and I'm gonna get out of here. But I had a friend of mine who had used one of these processes to pay some of his bills or what have you. And he was a very, very, very giving guy. And he had created this channel or a group. It had about 60,000 people in it, 60,000 people. And he was talking about how he had taught all of these 60,000 people this same technique that he had used in order to pay off his bills. Well, not one of them could get the process right. He showed them exactly how to do it. And not one of these people in this group were able to get the process right. And one of the things I had to tell him, I was like, listen, you've got to understand that all of this is spiritual, because this guy has put out a lot of positive energy, especially like when he created this group, it was to be giving. That was his nature. He was a giver. And again, when you put the energy out, the universe must, by law, return it to you. And so the thing is, none of these people in that group, they like, oh, well, where my money at? Because it's mine. The government owe me, and they need to put it in my bank account, honey, because I need to pay these bills, and I'm stressed out. Again, whatever energy you're putting out must come back. All right. And if you're putting out negative energies, or if you haven't put out the energy to where the universe can return it to you, you're asking for more than what you really deserve. If you get it, it's because you deserve it. If you want it, you must give it away. If you want it, you must give it away. All right, so I hope that helped some people. We are on a spiritual path here. You'll need to recognize this when you go. When somebody comes to me, I tell them straight up, this is a spiritual path that you're about to get on. Are you sure you're ready? Because if you're not willing to look at self, if you're not willing to be giving and loving to others, then forget it. You're not ready. You're not ready. There's a lot more to this. I hope to talk to you guys tomorrow. Please tune in. Love you. Peace. Diva. Bye.